this was our synagogue. This was the synagogue in Katowice, where my father was the rabbi. It was not very far from our house. You could walk to it. And the inside was also very beautiful. Here's a picture, one picture of the inside. And then on the right, you see what happened to it. The war started on September the 1st, 1939, and on September the 4th, 1939, the Germans packed it with dynamite and blew it up. And today, when you go, you don't see any evidence that there was ever a synagogue on the place.
What happened was, of course, after World War I, Germany was out of trouble, and because of their troubles, they ended up electing Hitler as the chancellor. Hitler designed the fascist system, starting from Italy into Germany, and he was dedicated to the idea of capturing Europe and making it into one state, the German state. And by 1939, he had started what was called World War II. Many people could see what was coming. My father, being successful in Belgium, and for whatever his reason was, I never discussed it with him, had decided not to go. But when the Germans attacked on May 10th in 1940, there was very little choice. Either you get bombed or you deal with the Germans when they took over the country, or you got out. And luckily, he made the decision to get out.
So it's May 10th, 1940, and we're having lunch, and my father said to my mother, I want you to take everything that is meaningful to you, silver, china, pictures, anything that you want to save, and bring it to our Christian neighbors, because I don't like what's going on. My father said to my mother, you go to the bank and take out all your money and all your jewelry, and just pack basic things in your 4 backpacks. And Evelyn, you could take 1 book and 1 toy, and my brother Sylvan, the same thing. And we're leaving tonight at 7. And my mother says, oh, I can't leave? I have a beauty parlor appointment tomorrow. and it's a standing appointment. I can't possibly leave. And I said, Daddy, I have a big test. I've been studying a whole week. And I don't want to leave tomorrow. Can we leave the day tonight? Can we leave the day after tomorrow? No, we're leaving at 7 o'clock. I made arrangements with this family that has a car and a child as well. And take all your jewelry and anything that's meaningful and put it in the backpack, and we're leaving. And I look out the window, and our building faced like 3rd Avenue, and I see the Nazis marching with the swastikas. I thought it was a parade. You know, they were walking like this, you know. And I said, Papa, regarde, un parade. He said, no, he said, it's not a parade. We left at 7 o'clock that night in the car. The next day, the Nazis knocked on every Jewish family's home, took away my mother's sister with her husband and 4 children, my father's mother, who was in her 60s. It was a matter of hours. Because as I said, the Nazis occupied Belgium in May 10th, 1940. And my father had to be brilliant, because we were the only ones to leave. Everyone else in our family perished, except my mother's sister managed to put her 2 children in a Christian orphanage, but most of the family, because they waited just 1 day. I mean, we were very lucky.
We had to wear a yellow ribbon on our arm, also with the walkie-talkie. Then we were not allowed to sit on the buses or the subways, only in certain cars, separated. So, and then the next step was that we had to move in designated buildings, which was designated for Jews. Leave our homes and go in those houses where the Germans and the Hungarians, because I must say that the Hungarian Nazis were at least as bad, if not worse, as the German.
I was 6 years old when we left our home for the last time, and I was 16 years old, 10 years later, when we arrived in America. So the next stop was that after a very, very cold and hungry winter, there is nothing, I must tell you children, I hope you never experience this, but there is nothing worse than being cold and hungry and going to sleep hungry. And so it had been a very, very difficult winter, and my parents decided that it was time to join the rest of the family. And so we went back to where they lived in Brzuchowice, and we had a wonderful reunion, and we were all 15 of us together again. My father opened the door, and there stood 2 Soviet soldiers with rifles, and they told us to pack up. You have half an hour in which to get your things, not too much, and leave. And we didn't know where we were taken, but ultimately we were deported to Siberia.
Now, when I looked around and I saw only older people and children in that line, I sensed something was wrong going on. And I just ran away to the other side where the young people, able-bodied people, were standing. While the Germans set up machine guns about foot high, and they were constantly thundering because people were running away, and some people were hit with those machine guns. Part of the, what they call the central camp of Auschwitz. And when we came in, there, of course, they searched our private cupboards that we didn't hide any weapons or any jewelry or anything else. Then we were put online and we were being tattooed. We were all being tattooed with a number on the arm, on the left arm. I wonder how many people of you saw anybody with a tattoo that was tattooed while being in Auschwitz. Can you raise your hand so I'll know who I'm talking to? Did anybody see a tattoo on somebody's arm? No.
I was born in end of August 1942. My father was deported, taken in one of these roundups. Probably, we don't know exactly the date, but probably it was in the beginning of August during these big roundups. Was deported, was taken first of all into this famous place, Mechelen, and waiting to be deported in one of the transports. This transport left on 10 September. I was born on 27 of August. Sad story, I've never seen my father. My father has never seen me. Because he was in Mechelen and my mother was expecting me. When I was 8 months old, it was a time that my mother could give me away, and they found a place for me in Brussels. My parents, new parents, were just arriving, a couple of months before, were just arriving back from Belgium, Congo. And they had lived there for a couple of years, they came back to Brussels, they came back to Belgium, and they agreed to take me in and to hide me. I don't know whether you realize what these people risked and why they did it. Still today, nobody understands.
I must tell you that the Greek Catholic Church, as far as I know, kept no Jewish children that were saved. Everyone was given back to the Jewish community who had family or someone to claim them. The Greek Catholic Church, and the other thing I have to tell you is that they say, I don't know how many people were saved by the church, but I've seen a figure that goes up to 150. And to save that many, even to save just me, meant a large number of people who had to be in on it. It wasn't just one individual who hid you in a cellar. We were constantly moved from place to place, and we were constantly moved by different priests. So there had to be a number of people who were involved who knew about this. And not a single person who was hidden during the war by the Greek Catholic Church was ever betrayed to the Germans. There are good people in every culture, in every religion. There are bad people, unfortunately, also in many cultures and in many religions. My life was saved by religious Christians who acted in the best possible moral way they could.
You hear this message?
And yet my life was threatened by people who had PhDs and who had tremendous culture, who grew up in a different culture. So I just want you to remember that there are good people out there, the more than you think. And if you don't look for them, you won't find them. If you look for them, they're there.
Students can all learn from each other, whether they're whatever religion or race, and it's very significant that we touch base and learn for the future to be tolerant of each other.